In today's lesson, we will discuss additional points in the laws of blowing shofar. So we know that the shofar is sounded a number of times throughout the morning prayers. It is sounded the first time after Kriyas HaTorah prior to Musaf. It is sounded likewise within the Musaf prayer, and it is sounded after Musaf. In today's lesson, we will discuss whether it is permitted to speak after the hearing of the sounds of the after Kriyas HaTorah blows, which is called Tkiyas Miyushav, and the rest of the blows, which is sounded at the end of davening. It's brought down in Shulchanaruchharav in chapter 592, Halacha 7, that one must beware not to talk of irrelevant matters between the Tkiyas Miyushav, which is the first set of blows that is sounded after Kriyas HaTorah, and the Tkiyas Ma'umad, which is the second set of blows sounded in Musaf. The reason why one is not supposed to talk from when he hears the bracha of the first set of blows until after the blows of Musaf is because the bracha said over the first set of blows, Tkiyas Miyushav, also counts for the blows that are sounded in Musaf. And hence, if one speaks, he makes an interval between the bracha and the set of blows that are sounded within Musaf. Thus, one is not to speak until after the completion of the blows sounded in Musaf. This law applies for the Baal Tekeya, which is the person who said the bracha over the shofar, and also the congregation that did not say the bracha but heard it from the Baal Tekeya. Nevertheless, they too are not to speak until after the Tkiyas Ma'umad. It is, however, only initially forbidden to speak of irrelevant matters between the two set of blows. However, it is even initially permitted to speak of matters that relate to the prayer or the blowing. Thus, anything that relates to the davening may be spoken about or may be asked even between the two set of blows. And the zehirus and the matter of which we beware is talking of irrelevant matters that have no pertinence to the prayers or to the shofar. In the event that one transgressed and spoke of irrelevant matters between the blows of Shachris, of after Tkiyas HaTorah of Miyushav, and the blows of Musaf, nevertheless, he is not required to repeat the blessing prior to hearing the shofar blown in Musaf, and the reason is because in truth, the two set of blows are really considered one mitzvah. And when everyone made an interval within the completion of a single mitzvah, a new blessing is not repeated. This is similar to the fact that one who spoke while wearing tefillin or while sitting in a sukkah does not repeat the bracha said over the tefillin or over the sukkah. The one who went to the bathroom recite Asher Yatzar. The answer is yes. One who went to the bathroom can recite Asher Yatzar. This is recorded in a number of Pesachim of today, the Yitzchak, the Shevet HaLevi, the Eliezer. And the reason is because right now is the time that one is to say the blessing of Asher Yatzar after finishing using the bathroom. So right now is its chiyuv, as well as it is something that pertains to davening. It's a prayer, it's a blessing, and therefore there is no problem in reciting it, and one should do so. So too, if one sees lightning or hears thunder in between the two sets of tkiyas, in between the before Musaf Tkiyas and the Musaf Tkiyas, then he is to say the bracha and not lose the bracha of lightning because of suspicion of an interval. May one say Tehillim or learn Torah during the time of between the two sets of Tkiyas. So the answer is that Torah is forbidden to be verbally studied because that is not something pertaining to the davening. And this applies even before Chazar Shashatz. However, it is permitted to think words of Torah in the mind, as thinking words of Torah is not an interval. So a rule of the Hartzvi. Furthermore, one may even verbally learn those sections of Torah that relate to the Tkiyas. As we stated earlier, that it is permitted to even lechatchila verbalize matters that relate to davening or the Tkiyas. And so was done by the Trumas Hadeshin, as recorded in the Leket Yesher, which was one of his students. It's brought in Yesod, that it is likewise permitted to say Tehillim during this time. And it is stated in Eitzim Nageh Chabad that the Rebbe was witnessed to have said Tehillim when the Chazan recited the prayer of Hineni Ani before Musaf, even though it is between the two sets of blows. And this hence gives strength to what's written, that saying Tehillim is permitted, and one can say the basis of it is that once again, it is similar to matters that relate to prayer, and hence is not considered an interval. Question. Until when is one to avoid speaking of irrelevant matters? If the Tkiyas of Musaf have already concluded, may one already speak, or should one wait until, in our custom, all the blows that follow Chazaras Hashatz are also sounded? Thus, may one speak immediately after Musaf, or must one wait until after Tehillim and after the blows are sounded after Tehillim? So it's brought down in the Chayei Adam and the Kaf HaChaim to refrain from speaking of irrelevant speech until all the Tkiyas are sounded till the end of davening. This is also recorded to have been the Rebbe's custom to avoid doing so, and the Rebbe would wait to wish Yashakach to the Kayanim until after the last blows were sounded. And the reason for this is because we desire that all the Tkiyas sounded on this day are included within the bracha. Nevertheless, from the letter of the law, it is permitted to speak immediately after the Tkiyas of Musaf have been completed, even before the other Tkiyas are sounded. We will now speak of the vidui of the confession that is written of in the Siddur to be recited during the set of Tkiyas. So in the Alter Rebbe Siddur he records that in between the sets of the shofar blowing, between Tashrat, Tashat, and Tarak of Miyoshev, one is to confess his sins quietly. The reason for this is explained in the Alter Rebbe Shulchanaruchharav in chapter 584, Halacha 2, based on many Achreinim such as the Magen Avraham and Shloh, that during this time is an auspicious time when the Satan is not able to use the confession against us, as at this time the heavenly prosecutor is in a state of confusion. Meaning that although throughout Rosh Hashanah we don't confess at all, since during the Tkiyas the Satan is in a state of confusion, one is allowed and is meant to confess. Many great things have been said about this confession. The Rebbe Rayach stated that this is a confession that expresses a longing of one's soul to attach to Hashem. He also stated that this was of the loftiest moments within Rosh Hashanah in general, and the blowing of Shofar in particular, and that one is able to change his entire essence at this time. Nevertheless, some write that the above directive of the Alter Rebbe in the Siddur only applies to the Baal Tekeya, and therefore other individuals should not confess. Others conclude that it practically is not a Chabad custom to confess between Tkiyas at all, and therefore many do not do so. One who does confess, the question is asked, may he verbalize his confession, or is it only to be said in his mind? So, from most poskim, the implication is that one is to verbalize the confession, and not just say it. However, there are poskim that rule that one should not verbalize the confession, as this is an interval between the set of blows and the blessing, as we spoke of earlier. Looking at the Baal Tekeya, it's brought down in letters of the Rebbe Rayat, as well as other places, that based on Kabbalah, it is our custom for the Baal Tekeya to face the congregation after he concludes the Tkiyas, and people are to look at his face. This is brought down to be a skula for Chatas Na'urim, and it's brought down that although this is a minhag Chabad, it's not an exclusive minhag Chabad, and is a general minhag of Kabbalah. This was the Rebbe's custom to turn around after he left from the podium, from blowing the Tkiyas, and stare and look at the congregation who returned their stare.